I stopped telling people my real age in salons 3 years ago. Not because I was ashamed of it, because the second I said 62, every stylist's hands changed. Suddenly it was all soft suggestions and maybe something easy to manage. Like fine, thinning hair over 60 only gets one boring answer. It doesn't. There are 3 specific shortcuts working right now for women with exactly your hair type, and none of them make you look like you gave up. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results, fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The soft layered crop. Here's the thing nobody explains about fine hair. It's not actually about how much you have. It's about how much light bounces off each strand. Thick hair absorbs light. Fine hair either reflects it beautifully or looks flat and tired, and the difference is almost entirely the cut. Most women with thinning hair go longer because they think length hides the problem. It does the opposite. The weight drags every strand down flat against the scalp, and that's when people start guessing your age wrong, in the direction you don't want. The soft layered crop fixes this by working with gravity instead of against it. It sits just above the jaw, sometimes a touch shorter, with layers cut at the crown that lift the hair away from the scalp before it even has a chance to lie down flat. A good stylist will point cut the ends instead of blunt cutting them, which sounds like a small detail, but it changes everything about how the hair catches light. Blunt ends on fine hair look like a doll's wig. Point cut ends look like movement, even when you're standing still. Here's what actually happens when you sit in the chair for this one. The stylist will ask you to part your hair where it naturally falls, not where you think it should go. Fine hair has a memory, and fighting that memory with a forced part is the fastest way to look thin on top. Then they'll cut layers starting about an inch above your ear, angling up toward the crown. The crown layers are shorter than you'd expect, sometimes only 2 to 3 inches, and that's intentional. Short layers at the crown create lift that lasts through the whole day, not just for the first hour after you leave the salon. The part people skip, and the part that makes the biggest difference, is asking for a slight undercut at the nape. Not shaved, just thinned underneath so the bottom layer has less bulk weighing down the top. This is the detail that separates a crop that looks intentional from one that just looks short. When the weight underneath is reduced, the top layers have somewhere to go instead of getting pushed flat by the hair beneath them. Now here's the snapback moment, because this is where it gets good. Women who switch to this cut tell me the same thing within a week. People stop asking if they're tired. That's the actual phrase that comes up over and over. Flat, heavy hair reads as exhaustion to other people's eyes, even when you feel completely fine. The second the crown has lift, your whole face reads differently, more awake, more present in the room. It's not the haircut making you look younger exactly. It's the haircut removing the visual cue that made strangers assume you were worn out. Styling this one is almost insultingly simple, which is the whole point. You're not adding volume with product, you're letting the cut do the volume for you. A light mousse on damp roots, blow-dried with your head tipped forward for 30 seconds, then flipped back. That's it. No round brush gymnastics, no 20 minutes with a diffuser. The layers are already shaped to fall the right way. You're just helping them dry in that position instead of fighting them into it. Picture the before. Hair past the shoulders, parted in the same spot it's been parted for 15 years, lying flat against the scalp by 10 in the morning no matter what product gets used. Now the after, a crop that sits at the jaw, lifted at the crown, ends that move when she turns her head instead of swinging like a curtain. Same hair, same amount of it, completely different read. I had a woman write to me after trying this cut, and say her own daughter asked who did her hair, because she didn't recognize the silhouette in a photo for half a second. That's the kind of reaction we're going for. But the crop isn't the only option on this list, and it's not even the boldest one. The next style does something the crop can't. And it's the one stylists quietly recommend to clients they actually like. Part 2, the textured pixie with volume. I want to tell you something that took me a long time to believe. A pixie cut is not a brave choice for thinning hair, it's a strategic one. We talk about pixies like they're a leap of faith, something you do after a breakup or a dare. But mechanically, a textured pixie does something no longer style can do. It removes length entirely, and length is the single heaviest thing working against fine hair every single day. Less length means less weight. Less weight means more lift. It's almost embarrassingly simple math that gets buried under decades of, but is it too short for me? The recognition moment here is usually quiet. It's the woman who keeps her hair shoulder length, just in case. Even though she hasn't worn it down in years because it looks thin the second it's not in a low bun. If that's familiar, the bun isn't a styling choice. It's a hiding spot. The fix is a textured pixie cut short at the sides and back, left slightly longer on top, usually 2 to 4 inches at the crown tapering down. The texture comes from point cutting and razor cutting combined, which thins the hair just enough at the ends that each piece separates instead of clumping. Clumping is what makes short fine hair look thin. Separation is what makes it look full. It's a counterintuitive idea, cutting more hair away to make it look like there's more of it. But that's exactly what's happening when a stylist uses a razor on the top layers. Ask specifically for a disconnected pixie if your hair is very fine. This means the sides are cut noticeably shorter than the top, with a visible line between the two lengths rather than a gradual blend. That disconnection creates a shadow line that the eye reads as depth and dimension, even on hair that's a single flat color. It's the same trick architects use with step-building facades. The break in the line is what creates the illusion of more mass. Here's the part that changes how people treat you, and I mean that literally. A well-cut pixie draws every bit of attention straight to your eyes and cheekbones, because there's no hair competing for space around your face. Women who make this switch tell me strangers hold eye contact longer in conversation. That's not a coincidence. When there's nothing to look at but your face, people actually look at your face, and a textured pixie with good shape is doing more flattering work around your bone structure than almost any longer style could. Styling is where most people get this cut wrong, so here's the correction. You do not want a flat, helmet-like pixie. That happens when someone blow-dries it straight down without lifting the roots first. The move is a small amount of paste, worked into damp roots at the crown, blow-dried with fingers lifting upward rather than a brush smoothing downward. You're building height before you build shape. Once it's dry, a tiny amount of pomade on just the front pieces, pushed slightly off to one side, finishes it. The whole routine takes about 4 minutes once your hands learn it. Picture the before, a low bun, every day, hiding length that doesn't actually look good down anymore. Now the after, a short, textured pixie with lift at the crown and a defined edge at the sides, worn down, every single day, with nothing to hide. Same woman. Completely different relationship with her own hair. A friend of mine cut hers this way after 40 years of the same below-the-shoulder style, and she told me the strangest part wasn't how it looked. It was how light her head felt by the end of the first day, like she'd been carrying something without realizing it. That feeling alone convinces some women faster than any photo could. But there's a third option on this list, one that splits the difference between the crop and the pixie, and it might be the one that suits you best of all. Part 3. The long layer shag with curtain bangs. There's a reason this one keeps showing up on stylists' Pinterest boards and almost nowhere else. It's harder to describe than it is to wear, so most people never ask for it by name. The shag with curtain bangs sits at the chin to collarbone, choppy layers throughout, with bangs that part in the center and sweep softly toward each temple instead of cutting straight across the forehead. It sounds busy on paper. On fine, thinning hair, it's the opposite of busy. It's the one cut on this list built entirely around disguising exactly where the hair is thinning. Most women avoid bangs over 60, because they assume bangs need thick hair to look right. That's backwards. Curtain bangs work specifically because they're not solid. They're meant to be thin and piecewise, parted down the middle so light passes through them. A style designed to look slightly sparse is, conveniently, the easiest style in the world for hair that actually is sparse. The fix lives in how the layers are cut through the rest of the head, not just the bangs. A stylist works in long, choppy layers from the crown down to the ends, cutting at irregular lengths rather than one even line. This irregularity does the same job the pixie's disconnection did. It creates shadow and depth so the eye reads texture instead of counting individual thin strands. The curtain bangs then get cut last, starting from the center part and graduating longer as they move back toward the ears, blending into the rest of the layers instead of standing apart as their own separate section. Ask your stylist for face framing layers cut on a diagonal. That phrase specifically tells them to angle the longest pieces near your cheekbones and jaw rather than keeping everything one length. On fine hair, length concentrated near the face does something almost sculptural. It draws a soft line along your jaw and cheek that a single all-one-length cut simply can't create. Here's the part that genuinely surprises people. Curtain bangs sit right at the spots most affected by thinning along the hairline. But instead of exposing that area, they fall directly over it at an angle that constantly shifts as you move. Static hair shows scalp. Moving hair doesn't. Your eye can't lock onto a thin patch that's never sitting still. Women who get this cut often say people compliment their cheekbones out of nowhere, which is really the bangs doing quiet structural work nobody consciously notices. Styling leans on one tool and one habit. A round brush, medium barrel, used only on the bangs and the face framing pieces, not the whole head. Blow dry those sections, rotating the brush slightly outward at the ends, which is what gives curtain bangs their characteristic soft sweep instead of a flat curtain look. The rest of the layers get scrunched with a texturizing spray on damp hair and left mostly to dry on their own. This is a cut that punishes overstyling. The more deliberately done the back and sides look, the less natural the face framing piece is read by comparison. Picture the before, a straight across, blunt fringe that had to be pinned back constantly because it sat flat and showed the scalp underneath within hours. Now the after, soft curtain bangs parted in the center, sweeping past the temples, never pinned, never fought with, just falling exactly where they're meant to fall. I'll admit this is the cut I'd pick for myself, mostly because it photographs differently every single time depending on how the bangs happen to fall that day. Never identical twice, always flattering. So now you've got 3 completely different cuts, 3 completely different personalities of hairstyle. But cutting the hair is only half of this. What you put on it, and how often, decides whether any of these 3 actually hold up past week 1. Part 4. The maintenance nobody mentions at the salon. Here's something stylists rarely say out loud, because it sounds like they're criticizing your products. Most volumizing shampoos marketed at thinning hair actually make it look thinner by the 3rd wash. They work by coating the strand in a polymer that swells it slightly, but that same coating builds up fast, and buildup weighs hair down exactly the way these 3 cuts are designed to avoid. You can have the perfect cut and still watch it go flat by Wednesday if what's in the shower is working against the scissors. The recognition here is almost universal. If you've ever washed your hair, loved how it looked that first day, and then felt it get progressively flatter and oddly heavier each day after, that's not your hair failing you. That's product residue accumulating on strands too fine to shed it on their own the way thicker hair does. The fix is a clarifying wash once every 7 to 10 days, paired with a lightweight, protein-based formula the rest of the week. Not a heavy volumizer, a protein one specifically. Protein temporarily fills in microscopic gaps along the hair shaft, which thickens the actual diameter of each strand rather than coating the outside of it. That distinction matters enormously. A coating sits on top and adds weight. A protein treatment gets absorbed and adds structure. One flattens, the other lifts. For all 3 cuts on this list, the single best tool you can own isn't a brush. It's a boar bristle round brush in a small barrel size, used only at the roots while blow drying upside down for the first 60 seconds. This distributes your scalp's natural oils down the hair shaft instead of letting them sit at the root and weigh it flat, while the upside down angle builds the lift these cuts depend on before you've even reached for product. It's a 2-minute habit that does more than half the products on a drugstore shelf combined. Here's the snapback that makes this whole routine worth the extra few minutes. Women who switch to this Clarify-Am protein rhythm report their cut holding its shape for 4 to 5 days instead of collapsing after one. That means the crop, the pixie, or the shag isn't just a 1-day-a-week good hair day. It's the way your hair looks most of the time, which is a completely different experience of having short hair than constantly restyling a style that won't hold. One more habit, and this one surprises almost everyone. Sleeping on a silk or satin pillowcase does more for fine, layered cuts than any nighttime product. Cotton pillowcases grip hair and create friction overnight, which roughs up the cuticle on fine strands especially fast, leading to that frizzy, flattened on one side look so many women wake up to. Silk lets hair glide instead of catching, so the shape you styled the night before is closer to the shape you wake up with. It costs about as much as 1 bottle of the volumizing shampoo you no longer need. Picture the before. A bathroom shelf crowded with 5 different volumizing products. None of them actually working, hair flat by Wednesday regardless of which cut she's wearing. Now the after. 2 products, a small boar bristle brush, a silk pillowcase, and a cut that holds its shape almost a full week. I switched to this exact routine after a stylist quietly mentioned, almost as an aside while I was paying, that half her clients with fine hair were using the wrong category of product entirely. She wasn't trying to sell me anything. She just seemed a little tired of watching people undo good haircuts at home. That conversation changed more about how my hair looks day to day than the haircut itself did. And I think that's the part most of these videos leave out entirely. You've now got 3 completely different shortcuts that actually work with fine, thinning hair instead of against it, plus the 2 habits that make any of them last past day 1. That's more than most salon consultations give you in an hour. Tell me, which one of these 3 are you taking to your next appointment? The crop, the pixie, or the shag with curtain bangs? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Next week I'm breaking down the exact at-home color formulas that keep gray from turning brassy between salon visits. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.